Hey, YouTube. Hey, shout out to everyone who is already in the chat and welcome to the first panel discussion on my channel. I don't have a name for it yet. I'm thinking probably pick me panel or I don't know. But basically the conversation is uncommon conversation amongst Black women. And with me today I have amazing woman to join the conversation. We're going to be talking about the obesity rates in the Black community, and it's going to be a conversation that we need to have. So before I allow them to introduce themselves, Sade, I'm just so obsessed with your hair. Your hair is distracting me because it wasn't like that behind the scene, and then,
I know.
but for those
I was in process.
For those of you guys who don't know, I'm Chantel, and I use my channel to speak with women who want to be better at dating and relationships. And I'm transitioning into speaking with women who want to be better overall, just in general, with everyday life, with everyday activity. And that includes our health and our fitness. So with me on my first panel discussion, I have these lovely ladies to join the conversation. And we all have some background in this topic. I'm gonna start with my background in the topic, and then we can go from Sade, Sandra, Avery, and Christine. So I'm a certified personal trainer and I'm a fitness nutrition specialist. I have been for 5 years. The time just flies. Time flies. I have been for 5 years. Very passionate about health and fitness. More passionate about fitness, just now becoming a little bit more passionate about the health and taking care of yourself and just overall health. I have been overweight. I was like borderline that obese. On the BMI chart, my heaviest was 171 pounds at 5'5", and that's overweight for a 5'5". That's a lot on my body. So when we're having this conversation, it's not just to point and laugh at overweight or obese Black women, but it's just to have the conversation because we need to have it. Sade, if you don't mind going ahead and introducing yourself and just a little about your background.
Yeah, Shay Sade over here. Thanks for having me on again, Chantel. It's always a pleasure. At my channel, we like to tackle tough topics with truth. So these are the kind of topics I love to talk about. I guess as far as just my health journey, I guess for sharing that, I would say that food, for me and my family in general, we have a lot of people in my family who have different food struggles, food addictions. My heaviest, I got to be 170 by the time I was 12. So I was an overweight kid, struggled with binge eating really all the way out through middle school, high school. So food was a struggle for me personally for a long time. And like I said, I've had different people in my family who actually have, legitimate food addictions, things like that. So it's very near and dear to my heart. I'm also a foodie. I love food. I love cooking. I love making healthy recipes. So this topic of eating food, all of it, like I get it. I can just say I get it. So I'm happy to be here and share my perspective.
Thank you. And Sandra, you're muted, sis. Wait, I think.
Sorry.
You're fine.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sandra, and I'm very happy to be here. My YouTube channel, I talk about many different things. So it's not just like one kind of topic. I kind of go all over the place. And as far as my connection to this topic, I've struggled with my weight since I was a kid. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. And I mean, even right now, I'm at a place right now where my weight has gone up because I recently switched my diet. Okay, your girl was vegan for almost 3 years, and I recently switched back to an omnivore diet. And so I've been kind of going crazy eating all these things that I haven't been able to eat for all this time. But even through my weight transitions and things like that, I've never had this mentality where it was like, oh, you know what? I'm happy to be, my biggest. I'm, proud of being bigger. Like I've never had that mentality, and it's always been a journey to get back to a healthier space. So, like you said, we want to talk about this from a place of understanding, but also some tough love, because I think we all need a little dose of tough love. But that's a little bit about me.
I feel you. I'm actually pescatarian and I've been thinking of going back into eating meat, but I'm scared because not eating meat, I think I'm pescatarian for about 3 years. So not eating meat for that long, I'm so scared to start eating meat again. So hats off to you for being to be going from vegan to eating meat again. Avery?
What's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys can hear me? Okay, cool.
Mhm.
All right, guys, my name's Avery. My background, let's see. So I've been overweight as well after I have 3 kids. I birthed them all after my first child. I was a little over 200 pounds. I am almost 5'8". Fluctuated, with my weight through college and all of that kind of stuff. Younger, obviously, I was really skinny, and it was like a joke, that especially in the Black community, like, oh, you're skinny, you're not thick. So like I was on a mission in college to like gain weight because I didn't feel sexy. I didn't feel like a Black woman because I wasn't curvy, right? Like I had curves, but I was thin. So I started gaining weight and then I got pregnant. So it was like the unhealthy weight that I gained on top of that weight. Uh, Fast forward, I owned a gym for almost 10 years. I am a trainer. I call myself retired. I'm a personal wellness coach. Started a women's only fitness program, ran that for some years. So I have a background on both sides. I've been overweight and I've been unhealthy. Heart disease does run in my family as well. I've had the kids. I've lost the weight. I've made fitness a lifestyle, right? It is definitely a huge part of my lifestyle. It is a huge part of my mental health. That is why I do it. And then like now, like, we're here on this panel and we have a lot of women in our community and we glamorize being overweight. We glamorize being unhealthy. We glamorize being, let's just be honest, like fat in this, like the laziness. And I was like, I don't want that for myself. I didn't want to be a mother that was sloppy and frumpy and let herself go. And I couldn't keep up with my kids. How can I show up as an amazing mother in my best self if I'm like huffing and puffing and I can't tie my shoes and I'm laying on the couch watching TV, eating, hot Cheetos and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, yes, I am here. I am representing. I know being healthy is not easy. Gyms are intimidating or whatever, but we really do. We need to do better. We need to do better and we need to make healthier choices because you only get one body. You get one body. You think you can buy one, but if your insides are garbage, I mean, what good are you doing? So that's my little spiel.
Most definitely. I love that you said that, you only have one body and this is like,
Yep.
this is it. And we've been playing with it. Christine, what about you?
Hey everyone, I'm Christine, and my background is I am a licensed physical therapist. I have been for about 6 years before transitioning into tech. So I've rehabbed people, I've seen obese people, I've seen everyone. Also myself, I had a daughter and had a C-section and then went well over 200 pounds, completely overweight. I'm still like at the point where I'm working on getting that back. I had her 2 years ago. So I do understand that journey, but I do see that the fight is between your ears, right? Like your mind tells you need to get back on that horse. I do believe that even though you're overweight, you can make all the excuses you want, but at the end of the day, it has to be you to want it for yourself. And I do see in the Black community that, we have that epidemic. So I'm excited to share my knowledge and what I know.
And Christine, every time you come on my channel, I'm just always so grateful because you don't have a channel, so but you're just here to to share your knowledge. So I always appreciate that. And one thing I do want to point out that we've all had a journey. Everybody on this panel have struggled with weight. We're not sitting here from a place of perfection with our itsy bitsy body saying, "Oh, look at us, we're perfect," and we don't know what it's like to be overweight. Everybody on this panel knows what it's like to be in that range, not obesity maybe, but in that range of diet and exercising. And let me tell y'all, it is hard if you're trying to lose 100 pounds or if you're trying to lose 5 pounds. It is as hard. It took me like so many months to lose the last 5 pounds. It is embarrassing. but in having this conversation, it's so important for us to have it. And I'm so grateful for everybody on the panel to join me for this conversation. As you guys come in, please do not forget to like this video. I see Keisha in the chat. Shout out to you, Keisha. So we're gonna start. All right, what are you guys' thoughts? first of all, let me start by saying, we 55% of Black women are obese, according to the CDC. 55% of Black women, and we're not talking about overweight. We're talking about obese. And when you're obese, your BMI is 30 plus, so you are about 50 to 100 pounds over what the recommended weight for you. What are your guys' thoughts? And I like that Avery did touch on the fact that she was skinny and people in her community would always make fun of her for being skinny. What are you guys' thoughts on the Black community pushing the agenda to say being unhealthy is sexy, normalizing that BBW lifestyle? We'll go in order again, starting with Sharday. You're muted. I'm muting you guys so we don't have feedback. So if you start talking, just check your mic.
Yeah, that's what you asked. That's a very loaded question because, I'll be honest for myself growing up as a kid, I was in a very multicultural environment. So there was one time in my childhood where I was in a pretty much all white environment, and apart from my family, apart from church, I was around white folks. And so, and then, like I said, my family pretty much being very overweight. It wasn't just like, oh, she's thick, slim, thick. It was like, no, my family for a long time was, obese. So there was never really a question of just like, oh, embrace your curves. It was like, we all knew that we were obese. We were known. I remember one time in particular, my great grandmother, she went to like a retirement home, and anytime like my aunts and uncles would come in, they kind of had this term, and they're like, oh, the fat family's here. So like I said, that was like, that's what they would call us, a fat family. So like I said, there was never an illusion that, oh, we just had a little bit extra baby fat. It was like, nah, you were big by Black folk standards. And then me being in an environment, I moved to a time and environment where it was all white, and I was like the tallest, the darkest, and the biggest. Was like, you're big. So there was never in my mind an illusion that it's like, oh, this is just, African or Black body type. It was like, no, we're big people. And I heard people in my family growing up and being like, complaining, being like, I don't like my body. So I do know in the Black community that's very common. Like I think we're generally more accepting, and I think there's a place for that. But, the question always becomes, okay, at what point is it we're accepting of having more curves? Usually our men do like women that have thighs and booties. So we don't want you to be as thick, but you being, 200 pounds overweight, that's not thighs and booties. That's Twinkies and Snickers and McDonald's. And, so that's why I say for me, it's very loaded, because I think my experience was a little bit unique of that, coming from a multicultural environment, and then coming from a family where it's like legitimately we were obese and we all knew it. If that makes sense.
No, with that, because another common thing that I hear a lot is that fat people run in the family. Like, it's just a part of the family, so we just accept it. Like, we're big bone. Did you adopt that mindset as a child, that seeing all your relatives being overweight? Did you just think that, okay, this is something I was born into?
For a time. And I think for me, what I started to recognize was that it wasn't necessarily as much genetic. Yeah, there were maybe aspects of it, but I think, again, speaking for myself, I think some of it had more to do with the way some of us have been taught to maybe deal with our life, handle emotions. I will say for me, a big act of my energy was because there are certain times in my life where I just didn't know how to handle certain situations or or feelings or emotions, and I turned to food. And so I think just the Black community in general, there's certain things that are not it's not common for you to talk about certain things. It's not as acceptable for you to bring up certain things. So as a result, we may turn to whatever vice or whatever thing that we have to cope. And I think in my family, that coping mechanism was food. I hope I'm making sense. For me, that's my inability to control my food at a particular time was completely connected with my emotions. And I can say people in my family who have admitted this to me, they say the same thing.
It's great to even get to the point where you can acknowledge that and admit that. A lot of people who struggle with overeating and binging don't realize that it's connected to your emotions.
Yeah, yeah.
Sandra, what are your thoughts on this whole normalization of obesity in the Black community and making excuses like, oh, well, it just runs in my family because everybody in my family is big bone?
Honestly, it's very interesting to see the shift because when I was younger, I was a little bit overweight. Um, it wasn't something that people were sitting around praising. You
Mhm.
know, you go to school, the kids would make fun of you, and you'd feel some type of way about it. And so I know for a while when I was younger, I wouldn't even wear shorts because I just felt like I didn't like the way I looked, and so I would never wear shorts. I would never wear skirts. Went to school with big old t-shirts on. There was nobody telling me that, oh, you know, you having that extra weight is a good thing. There was nobody telling me that. It was always the opposite. You know, you see you know, around that time, America's Next Top Model was popping. We were all watching that show and those stick thin women. And so it was just like, there wasn't an environment that was sitting here encouraging people to stuff their face without, you know, doing any kind of exercise or anything like that. There were no safe spaces to just be happy to be overweight. And so it's just very interesting to see that shift from then to now, where you have people literally going online telling you that you're fat phobic if you ask for a smaller slice of cake. Like if you ask for you know, can you give me a smaller slice of the cake? I don't really need that much. They're going online making videos telling you that you're fat phobic for not wanting as much cake. And it's very, very weird to me. And as far as it being within the Black community, I think that oftentimes we allow, and I'm sorry if there are any Caucasian women in the chat, this is not a shot at you, but more of a reflection on us as Black women. Oftentimes we follow white women into the fire and then they dip out at the last minute and we're stuck in there lit up. And so, you know, a lot of this fat acceptance, I want to say it started with, you know, overweight white women getting online saying that, oh, it's the best thing. And then the same thing with like the people who run the media outlets. They start propping up the Lizzos of the world. Okay, very talented woman. She got talent. They're propping her up because of her being overweight, and they're focusing her entire career on the fact that she is an overweight woman. And so it's become this thing where rather than us feeling a bit of shame about being overweight, you know, shame is a natural emotion. It happens, you know, instead of feeling that kind of like in us where it's like, I don't feel comfortable with this. You know, we see people like Lizzo and, you know, other people get on these internets and they're parading themselves around wearing these hoe fits that normally you wouldn't want to put on because you feel uncomfortable. And then so, you know, it becomes this mentality where it's like, I want to have hot girl summer, but the outfits don't fit. And now they're making the outfits bigger so they do fit. And so it's just, there's no balance where it's like, you know, if you wanna present yourself in a certain way, you got to kind of work on yourself to fit those standards. It's like the standards have completely gone out the window. And that mixed with laziness, excuses, and I hate to say it, but we as Black people, we like to participate in the oppression Olympics. We like to participate in the victim Olympics. That's not to say that there aren't things that we have gone through or things that have been perpetrated against us, but we tend to fall into that victim mindset as opposed to holding ourselves accountable for our choices. And I feel like that has also influenced how we view our weight. Okay. We see it as everyone's just victimizing us by calling us fat, as opposed to looking at ourselves and be like, look, this isn't healthy. I shouldn't be living this way. And then putting the steps forward to make things better. So, you know, it's very interesting. And I love the age that I'm at because I was able to see everything kind of go from point A to point hell. And it's just very interesting to say the least.
I know, and you said a lot, and it's so interesting that what you brought up was the question that I was about to ask Avery, and I find it interesting too that growing up in the 90s, things that Lizzo wore, like fat people wouldn't feel comfortable wearing it because, as you say, shame is an emotion, and there's a sense of like standards and boundaries. Like, hey, if you have a couple overweight parts, you don't wear that. It's not to shame you or anything. It's just that clothes is not for you. Avery, what are you, so whenever something negative happens in society, the Black community feels it the most. Like the feminist movement, for example, it was like Sandra said, it was a white woman thing, and then Black women jump on and ran with it, and we're mostly affected because only 1 in 4 of us will get married. Looking at the body positivity movement and the health at every weight movement, white women started this whole accept me how I am. Black women took it on, ran with it, and now we are 55% of us are overweight, and I'm sorry, 55% of us are obese, and only 38% of white women are obese. What are your thoughts on that? Just us taking up the white woman trope baton and running with it.
We need to stop because we can't do what they do.
Mm-hmm,
Like,
mm-hmm.
seriously, in the world that we live in, we can't. And here's the thing, I don't care what they do. You know what I'm saying? And yes, I have white friends or whatever. I'm not white. I cannot do what they do. I cannot move like they move. And regardless, no matter what gym I step into, what fitness facility I step into, what studio, when I owned one, the majority of the women that are in there exercising and working out, and I'm not saying that they have to be a size 2 or a size 6. That's not what I'm saying, because that doesn't necessarily equate to being healthy either. But the ones that are actively participating in having a healthier lifestyle and moving their bodies are white. They're white women. So now we have social media, and it will glamorize a few, oh, Black women work out, and it will highlight a few Black women that are fitness people or fitness content creators. The majority of us do not work out. So when they're on the front line saying like, oh, accept me as I am, and this whole thing, the same thing with the feminist movement, that people need to realize, though, when we pick up their that agenda and we run with it, it's not for us. It doesn't include us. It just meant like, okay, I can be overweight and fat. Overweight and a white woman, and it's okay. You need to include me. But it's really not for us. So we're taking it and running with it. But the message that they're putting out there, like, what are we picking up and carrying, right? We're picking up and carrying heart disease. We're picking up and carrying more stress. We have a lot more stress than them. So now we're adding unhealthy habits, unhealthy eating, an unhealthy relationship with food. Like Sade said, we have an unhealthy relationship with food. That's what we need to focus on. And glamorizing being, thick, which is really, like, when I was thick, looking back on the pictures, I was not thick. I was fat. I was fat. If I gained more weight now, I would be thick because I know how to gain weight properly, and I would still be active, and I would eat the right foods to gain weight, like certain carbs and that's a whole nother thing, right? To gain healthy weight instead of just pockets of fat. But we cannot do what they do. And I'm telling you, everywhere I go, I am one of the only Black women that is actively working out. And when I say working out, not for the gram, not to wear certain clothes and posting like Gymshark and all of that kind of stuff, but when the cameras aren't rolling, like, it's a part of my lifestyle. When nobody's looking, I'm not filming workouts every day. I wear workout clothes. I was even happy that you had this stream, because I was like, I'm wearing me some workout clothes in this live stream. But seriously, they're pushing this agenda that we cannot pick up and we cannot do, because overall in our communities, we have unhealthy relationships with food, and we are just unhealthy, and it's not cute. And then a lot of them will look at women like us and say like, oh, you're going against this sisterhood, and turn their nose up. Because if you're a Black woman and you're working out, or you're taking your fitness and your health seriously, then obviously you're doing it, either because a man left you or because you're trying to get a man. And we need to normalize that taking care of your body is maintenance. It's self-care. It's that self-love thing that everybody's screaming and singing, like, really actively, do it. And I know we're moving on, but like Sade said, I grew up in a predominantly white community, and growing up, I didn't think I was skinny. But then as soon as my parents gave me the option to leave Catholic school and try public, which I did in the 7th grade, when I went to public school and I was in a more mixed environment, it was like, oh, look at String. So my nickname was String Bean. Look at String Bean. And I'm like, oh my God, do I need to gain, do I need to gain weight to be accepted by my people, right? It was like I had long hair and I was skinny. So I actually wore, I'm probably older than a lot of you guys. I'm 39. I actually started wearing Dickies, and that's when people wore like the North Carolinas, the jerseys and the starter jackets and the boxers underneath your Dickies. Girls were doing that whole thing. I actually wore bigger clothes to make myself look bigger and to look curvier so I could be accepted. And I was young. I was in the 7th grade, right? So I could be accepted by my peers, because when I got around them, I never realized that I was too skinny or too whatever until they pointed it out. So I know we got to move on, but that's that.
No, that's well said. I was laughing at Sandra's face when you said you're 39. Sandra was like, 39, weird. You don't look 39. But you see, I love this panel because it's so perfect. What you mentioned was a question I was going to ask Christine. And guys, I promise we did not go over these questions, but everybody's like following up and it's just flowing perfectly. Because when you mentioned Avery, you shared your story, how they call you, what is string bean, you said?
String bean.
Making fun of your figure. You were more than likely at a healthy weight, but they were making fun of you, criticizing you and saying that you're going against the sisterhood if you're not big and unhealthy. Christine, what are your thoughts on that? This whole, not only are we normalizing obesity in the Black community, but we're bashing, the word that we love to use, we're bashing women who actually want to be fit and who want to be healthy. I know I have my share of, whenever I say, oh, I'm going to lose weight, a bunch of people feel the need to message me and say, oh, don't get too skinny, don't lose too much. And it's just like, I'm trying to get healthy. I'm not even concerned about looking snatched or anything. I just want to be healthy. Christine, what are your thoughts on that?
I do believe it starts also at a young age, like, finishing your food off your plate. And I know when I had my child, like my family members and my culture, like they were like, make sure the baby's eating. Like they wanted my baby to be fat. Like my baby was like a healthy weight and they were like, she's not eating enough. She's too skinny. And I'm just like, she's healthy. She's fine. She doesn't need to be like so big. And also I don't force her to eat all her food. So I think it starts like the cultural thing. Also, you're not taught that, what's healthy, what fats or foods or carbs are healthy for you to eat. You're just told to eat everything and make sure you look healthy. And so I think we need to definitely change that narrative, introduce like whole foods to our children, not packaged foods and all those things. So, and from my experience as a physical therapist, what I do notice is that, yeah, people are definitely normalizing, well, I don't do this all the time. So don't expect me to like meet my goals. Don't expect me to, do this. And I'm like, why not you try something different? And what I love that we always talk about here on the panel is that, if something's not working and hasn't been working for a long time, like obviously you need to try something different. You need to have a new approach and try, a different approach to kind of get a better outcome. And so I'd have patients where like, I'd be motivating them and telling them, hey, if you want to get back to driving, playing basketball, whatever it is, you got to get up, you got to work at this every single day. And I can't do it for you. Like I can't make you want to get better. I can't make you want to lose weight. I can't make you do it. You literally have to. I can guide you. I can provide you resources, but you literally have to do it, yourself and between your ears. So I'm just pretty much here, like I said, we're not pointing fingers at Black women or overweight Black women, but I do believe it's something that you need to change, whether you need therapy, like Sade said, like there was a real emotional attachment like to food. And so you probably see like a therapist and discover what is that deeply rooted, problem? What is that emotional attachment? Let's address that. Let's unpack that. And so I think once you get that done, then you can, try to see how you can rectify and correct yourself and improve your situation. But yeah, as far as my take of how it's being normalized, it's discouraging. And I believe we can start with the small ones, the young ones, and change, the future going forward with ourselves by leading by example. As we're all young ladies here, so I think we can lead by example and say, hey, this is how I decide to hold myself and my family, in a healthy lifestyle, and hopefully they follow suit.
100%. I think it starts from when we're young, because those are the habits that you build. And trust me, I know Avery can feel me on this one. The excuses that these clients come up with as to why they cannot lose weight, Oh my gosh, like that's the most annoying thing about being a personal trainer, because like they'll pay you for the services and then they expect you to work out for them, and then the fat is just gonna fall off their body. So like it gets to the point where it's just like, and we're gonna touch on that. We're gonna touch on excuses and if the obesity in our community is just pure laziness or if it's really genetics. But let me get through the super chat. I know I'm far behind. Shout out to Ricky. Ricky said, here's a little something for the cause. Props to Chantel 100%. Thank you so much, Ricky. Always showing up and supporting before the live stream starts. A says, gorgeous panel. Well, aren't we? And shout out to everybody, the ladies on the panel. You guys look so beautiful and we're having such a great conversation. It's like beauty and brains, but it's not the aggressive masculine energy. It's like the feminine energy. It's just like so many femininity. I love it. I know I have more. Let's see. I'm so far behind. Oh gosh. Guys, as you come in, please don't forget to continue to like and support. And everybody's YouTube channel is linked below. Except for Christine. Christine does not have a channel, but everybody else has a channel and their YouTube is linked below. So go ahead and subscribe to their channel. Support the team pick me, I guess. What a masterclass of femininity this is. 5 accomplished, knowledgeable women confidently discussing an unpopular, uncomfortable topic. Feminine has never meant weak. Thank you so much for that, the beautiful lies. Ace again, shout out to you. Look at Soul Train in the 70s, prove that Black women can be in shape. So this we are naturally big is nonsense, most definitely. And that even goes into the excuses that a lot of these women have. It's like hormones and thyroids and it runs in their genes and it's genetics and it's this and it's like, okay, but the woman back in the 70s on Soul Train, like what I mean, what are we gonna say? It just automatically came all of a sudden. Oh, shout out to Bobby just supporting all the beautiful complexions on this great panel, great topic. Fat peer pressure is deep. It is so deep, and they're bullying. Who mentioned earlier? I think it was Sandra mentioned earlier that it's fat phobic if you ask for a smaller piece of cake. I know I saw that video and it was just like okay. But I want to get into and I want to start with Sade about this because I know Sade has a soft spot in her heart for overweight woman. I like to use the word fat because it's triggering and I like to just trigger people so the light bulb can go off so they can so I like to use the word fat, but let's pretty it up and say obese. Sade, do you think it's laziness or do you think it is do you think there more to it why we see the obesity rates in the Black community being so high?
I think there's a couple of things. I don't believe that, just all of a sudden there's just this generation of all these people that are just fat and lazy and don't want to do anything. I think that certainly exists, but it's like, again, if we look at just Americans in general, we are overweight. So there is things of just like, different hormones in our food. Like, I mean, now I even think of, if I see I see 6th graders now and how like these children are developing faster, getting breast faster. So there are things in our food that our grandparents, our great grandparents weren't having. My grandmother, for example, she was one of the few people in my family. She was very lean. She had fried chicken all the time. She had, chicken fried steak. She's from the South. So she was eating all that good food, but it was organic. There wasn't stuff in it. So I don't believe that it's just all these people are lazy. I do think that there is a component of how does these hormones actually affect people? Because like I said, Americans, period, are overweight. Secondly, I do think in our culture, in particular, African American culture, there is placating, as all of us have mentioned before. There is a cultural component of where it's like, generally speaking, I think we like curves. You know what I mean? We don't like sticks. Like, men they like booty, they like thighs. Like that's what we like. And so I think generally we're more accepting of that. But now I feel like it's just gotten way, way out of hand. It's just gotten way out of hand. And I think reasons are so many different things. Like I said, you can't criticize Black women for whatever reason. And I don't know if this is a result of feminism, but it's like now any sort of criticism, even if it's constructive, is seen as being, misogynist. And so it's like we essentially, we've created this culture where we've removed boundaries, because I don't believe that things are always, sometimes things are black and white, and then sometimes things are nuanced. And I think when it comes to an entire community of people being so overweight, I don't buy it that it's just because all these men, all these Black men are poor. I hear that all the time. Or all these Black men are just fat and lazy and want to go to the gym. It's like, yeah, but there has to be systematic things adding to it. So like I said, I think, like I said, there's again, we're going to the way our food is being treated, I think, is differently. But I think we've created a culture where Black women cannot be criticized for anything. So it's like we have a generation of women who can't even take constructive truth. And I think that's added to it. And then on top of that, I think, I don't know how much this actually affects things, but for example, like getting healthy food that is an investment. It's not cheap. Like, for example, I live in the Bay Area. I can go to the farmer's market, and I'm blessed to do so. There's like farmer's market within 10, 15 minutes of me. But I have friends of mine who live in like the rural South or different areas where they live, where it's called food deserts, where you have to drive an hour and a half too just to get access to fresh produce. So some of the stuff I do think is access. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think this is my opinion, may not be popular, but I think it's a mixture of things. I think it is people's behavior, people not wanting to go to the gym, people wanting to make excuses because Black women can't be criticized. But I also think there's these different things that have happened. Our food being processed in such a way to where it's not as healthy as it used to be, as having more access to junk food. And then also the fact that in poor areas, working class areas where there are a lot of Black women, it is harder to get access to fresh food that would be good for you. So I know that was kind of long-winded, but I think those are three different components that are kind of leading to this culture of so many Black women just being overweight. And then we can't tell them that you're overweight because, like I said, there's this culture where they can't be criticized. So I hope that's making sense. But I think it's, like I said, I think it's a little bit more, there's a little bit more to it than just all these Black women are lazy and don't want to go to the gym. That's some of it, but I don't think that's all of it. So.
Christine, what are your thoughts on the systematic things that's preventing Black women from being healthy?
Yeah, I was gonna piggyback off that because I live in the DC area, so like there are definitely, I mean, you cross one ward or one zone and it's like impoverished and there is a food desert, and just so happens, lower income Black people live there, and there's nothing but a Taco Bell, a Popeye. Yeah. I used to do home care as a physical therapist, so I've been on like all kinds of neighborhoods. I've been in the rich white neighborhoods, the really gutter neighborhoods, everywhere. And it's just a stark difference. They don't have the Whole Foods. They don't have the natural, organic, healthy food places. And I'm like, why? Why not? And then, the answer is capitalism. There's no, income. The income of that area does not sustain a Whole Foods, so they won't put one there. And so I think that's how they systematically exclude Black people. I want to say Black women because men also can result from this. Children can, have this result. So yeah, there's that, that redlining of like, housing. It's the same thing with food. Like you're just not letting them get that access. So I definitely don't want to say point the finger, but then I also think a lot about discipline. So when you want to like change something about yourself, you have to like be like, okay, I'm going to be disciplined. Say you have access to bad food. Okay. But are you going to eat every single thing that's in front of you? Or are you going to always be like, well, I'm emotional and I'm sad about my situation, so I'm going to eat. So that's another aspect you can control. I believe in like, trying to work on what you can control. But there's definitely a systematic, influence into how our community, specifically Blacks, doesn't have access to healthy food.
I love that you said that because that was my question to Sandra. Do you think that it's a part of playing in the victim Olympics if we're going to say, okay, then fast food is more convenient in the Black community? Or do you think that that's just it is what it is?
I do believe that there's definitely validity to the fact that if you look at the options that are available in lower income areas, the options aren't as economical. It's not readily available. So there is validity to that. However, I would also say that when you value something, you're going to put your finances, your resources into making those healthier choices. So I would be very curious to see where the money is being spent. Because is it being spent on, clothes that you don't need, things that are expensive in other areas that you could cut back on, and then possibly venture out into a different neighborhood, go to those grocery stores and bring back healthier options. So it's just, we can recognize that, there are systems in place to try to coax us into a direction that is unhealthy. But at the end of the day, we still have that option of where we spend our money. If we're spending our money at the McDonald's, at the Taco Bells, as someone said in the chat, if we're spending our money, on liquor, alcohol, spending our money on other substances, other things like that, then can we really say that, oh, it's us being victimized? Or is it us making choices? Yes, the propaganda is there. Yes, they put those directly in the community, but we can choose to go somewhere else and get something better. And
shout out to shout out to shout out to my fit journey lit. He said corner stores sell apples. That's funny. Go ahead, Sandra.
But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I have to say about that. I never want us to be in a place where we are just like, oh, they're doing this to us. They're doing this to us. We can recognize those things, but we also have to take action. Okay. I don't like to just sit around and complain. Okay. What can we do in that moment to do better? Does that mean we're going to have all the options at our disposal right away? No, it might not be that case. You might not have access to a Whole Foods, but you might have access to, well, this might be a Chicago area, Jewel Osco. You might have a Jewel Osco nearby, or, something like that. And you make those better choices, and it'll reflect where your priorities are.
Most definitely. I agree 100%. And um I think too, also, it's not so much if we're talking strictly about losing weight, it all comes down to calories in versus calories out, right? So even if we do go to the McDonald's or the Taco Bell or whatever you find in the hood, it comes down to portion controlling. So yes, to some extent, yeah, if you only have access to that and you can't get the apples from the corner store, why you supersizing your meal if you are on the path of getting all these chronic diseases? And Avery, I see you in the chat was saying that having children is just an excuse, and there are 155 million excuses as to why these ladies will have reasons why they are overweight. And like Sade said earlier, it's like we can't criticize Black women, because if you criticize them, they're like, well, I had 3 kids. And it's like, sis, your kids are 25. Like, you had 25 years to lose the weight. And then a common excuse that gets on my nerve is that thyroid problem. Your hormones and your thyroids, like, there is a huge difference between being overweight and being obese, and your thyroids is not the reason why you're obese. Being overweight, yeah, I can give you a pass. Your thyroid problem might contribute to you being overweight, but we're talking about obesity. Avery, if you don't mind going in depth some excuses that you got and just debunking those excuses.
Girl, what? Do we have enough time? No, I'm not going to go over all of them, but let's just go with the kid thing, right? And let's just go with C-sections. I had 3 kids. I've had 3 C-sections. I get it. It's not easy, but it's you like get rid of that excuse, right? You have to get rid of that excuse. And that's why when I started my women's only wellness program, a fitness program, it was actually because I was out at one of my sons played JFL, right? So if you've ever had kids that play in Little League football, the moms are out there, like the dads are out there, but a lot of those moms are out there. And a lot of the moms were just kind of sitting there. They work hard. They did not have a lot of time to go to the gym, but we're sitting out there. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start training you all for free out here at these practices. And I started asking them like what they ate. They're eating pork chops. They're eating gravy. They're eating fried chicken. They're drinking multiple Pepsis every day and everything like that. And I'm like, okay, so obviously you have a break in your day because you're here at these practices 3 or 4 nights a week. So I actually just started, like I said, training them for free, giving them, like, going over their food, not making it so ridiculous to where it's like you got to go home and throw everything out. and not counting their pockets. It's not like you got to eat organic and vegan, but just being conscious, making healthier choices, and making sure that the body that you have, you feel comfortable in it. But like, I get the kids. That's an excuse, not an excuse, right? I don't have time. I don't have the money. You don't have the money, but you buy every detox tea, every waist trainer, every grease you can wrap your body in and do all this mummification, thinking you're going to sweat it out. Did I say the waist trainers?
Well, let's talk about those waist
and
trainers.
sweatbands.
Those waist trainers, girl, speak on it.
Oh my God, multiple waist trainers and sweatbands. But let's just be honest. We do spend money and we do invest. Black women are huge consumers. Our hair, we will pay for our hair. We will find a way to get to the store. We will find a way to go stand in line for something. So say you got to save that for somebody else who cares. We are lazy. We are lazy. We are entitled. Can't nobody say nothing to us. We do what we want to do. And I don't care. I'm saying it. We do what we want to do until we're faced with the realization like, oh, shoot, I'm borderline diabetic. I have high blood pressure. I have high cholesterol. I have this. I have that. And then for some of us, it will scare them straight. But for a lot of them, it doesn't. I had clients at times that would come in. I had a client and she was like getting nauseous. I'm like, oh my God, did you not work out? Did you not eat before your workout? She was like, oh, I shouldn't have that burger and shake. She had prepaid for her sessions. I deducted an amount. I gave her her money back and I took her off my books because I was very picky about who I worked with. I'm like, you're wasting my time. You were literally wasting my time. You came out in here, you ate a burger and you drank a shake, and I got you in here doing sled pushes and burpees. Like, you're playing. But then you come in and you're like, oh, I want to look like this. You pull up every woman that's had a BBL. You want to look like this. First of all, you're not going to look like that. Let's take the body that the creator himself gave you and make it the best version for you. Make it healthy. The excuses are absolutely ridiculous, but I don't care. Like I said, we have time to do what we want to do. We have time to get a 15-hour hairstyle. We have time to, work overtime to get our hair done the way we want to get the nails, to get the designer, to do this, to do that, to go on the girls' trips. We have time to schedule these crazy surgeries overseas and think that that's going to help. And then we come back. Outside is somewhat looking good sometimes if it's not botched, and then your inside is garbage, like just straight garbage. I'm over the excuses, and I'm sorry. I am tired of going places and I'm looked at like, why does she look a certain way? Why is she active? I don't want to die. Like, I don't want to die anytime soon. Like, I know death is a part of life. I don't want to add to it. So whether it's my personal life, my mental health, my physical health, my emotional health, I want all of that to be intact. And I'm not doing it for anybody else other than myself. Yes. And then my children and my loved ones. But like, the excuses, no, ain't no excuses. I don't care where you live. And I don't care if you don't have a gym membership. You don't need one. You don't need a personal trainer. I even put in the chat, the cheapest and best piece of exercise equipment you will ever have is your body. All you need is you. And then other than that, you can eat beans, you can eat rice, you can find other protein, you can find some fruits and vegetables, but it's the choices that you make. And do you want to do it? Do you want to do it? Do you feel that you need to do it? Or do you feel like we're supposed to bow down to you while you're overweight, or like Chantel likes to say, while you're fat and unhealthy? Like, are we supposed to continue to glamorize that? And then the rest of us that take care of ourselves, are we supposed to be looked down and labeled as pick-me's or somebody who's trying to get a man or do this or do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, just stop it. I'm over it.
And then if we try to have the conversation, then they say we're fat phobic and we hate fat people and black women are already at the bottom. And it's just like, come on, sis. Avery, you snapped at that one. Christine mentioned earlier that, our biggest hindrance is our mindset. And you touched on those waist trainers, those tea. Oh Lord, those teas get on my last nerve.
All the vitamins, the thick liquid. Oh, I'm gonna drink this, and like, you have all these women like, oh, I'm gonna go get my body done, and now I'm gonna sell detox tea, and then I'm gonna sell. Let's talk. I'm gonna sell you a lie. No, sell me your surgeon's number. Like, tell the truth, because you're still sitting up being unhealthy, you know what I'm saying? Just because your
Mm-hmm.
body's snatched,
Mm-hmm.
like that's gonna fade. Like
Mm-hmm.
your heart, your
Mm-hmm.
arteries, your mindset, like all of it. The glow up needs to be from the inside out.
Inside. And that to me just shows that this social media climate that we're living in, where people just want to put on, people just want to look the part, they don't actually want to be the part. And it can even tie into what we usually use our channel for, to be better, so we can attract men. But a lot of these women just want the ring, they don't want the marriage. And it ties in perfectly. Let me get through these super chats, and then we can talk about those teas and those straight waist trainers and the laziness of so many. And let me say, it's not just in the black community, because we have the Kim Kardashians selling those damn teas. We have those, non-black people. However, it's 55% of black women are obese, and only 38% of white women are obese. So we're talking about it because it's affecting us way more than it's affecting anybody else. Cam, thank you so much for the super sticker. Shout out to Cam, another pick me in the chat. Destination says a little something for you. Thank you so much. Love the channel and all that you ladies. I'm sorry. And all of you ladies look amazing. Thank you so much. Shout out to my lovely panels. Guys, go ahead and hit the subscribe button on their channel. If you haven't already, go ahead and like this live stream. Game Changer says fit, feminine, friendly panel. Thank you, Game Changer. So sweet. Let's see. Justin. I saw Justin was shooting his shot. Justin says, lovely ladies on the panel, especially Sandra. Ooh, I think he got a crush on you, Sandra. I'm joking. I know that's your fiance. Keep up the great topic, the unconventional discussion. I am glad to support the channel. Great stream. Thank you so much, Justin. Terenza says it's psychological and social engineering, along with the epigenetic inheritance that create these problems. 100%. And to me, it's like we're blindly following all these things. We're blindly following the white woman movement. We're blindly saying, "Oh, look at me! I can twerk even though I'm 308 pounds at 5'8". And as a society, we just praise that. Dane, shout out to Dane, always coming through and supporting. Hey, Chantel, to all your beautiful guests. Thank you so much, Dane. I see everybody all here in the chat. I see you, Charmaine. Sportsman, I see you. Shout out to Bobby. Do y'all know slash heard of community gardens? I think Bobby mentioned community gardens when we were talking about the lack of healthy grocery stores in black communities. And that's true. Planting your own stuff. If you, as Sandra said, if you're serious about it, you will make it work. I mean, when you're serious about getting that new hairdo, you make it work, right? So if you're really serious about it, you will make it work. Triple C says, I appreciate this dialogue. This isn't something that will be changed overnight, but I'm happy to hear the discussion. More people need to see this. And thank you so much. And that's our purpose. We're not going to have this discussion and then tomorrow the obesity rate is going to drop. But we need to start having these conversations. And too often fat women will shame us from having these conversations, try to silence us by saying, oh, hormones, and oh, I have kids, and oh, like, nah. Condemn. I I don't like. Hi, thank you so much for the super chat. At the end of the day, they have to want to make a change for the betterment of themselves. If you want a change to happen with your health and fitness, it will happen if you want it. Talk is cheap, most definitely. I mean, as I said, it goes back to calories in versus calories out. And if you want the change to happen, eat less, move more. It really is that simple. But we try to complicate things. We try to make things about other factors. That's not a factor. I love the fact that our generation is waking up to end generational curses. Thank you so much, Lewis. And JD, shout out to JD. Haven't seen you in a minute. And those booty lifting straps. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. I see you, Avery. I know you want to talk on it. I think I got everybody. Thank you guys so much for supporting. If you haven't already, go ahead and like the live stream. Hey, Suzette Speak. Shout out to Suzette Speaks in the chat. If you guys haven't already, go ahead and hit the like button, and go ahead and follow my lovely panelists. Great gems being dropped. Hey, Jasmine. Great gems being dropped in this conversation. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. All right. So the next topic, the next subtopic on my list is to talk about this whole BBL culture. Avery briefly talked about it, how and who was it? I think Avery, I think it was you in our collab. We talked about how all these women on social media, they all look alike. They all went to the same surgeon. Christine, what are your thoughts on this BBL culture? It's like they don't want to put in the hard work. They just want an easy way out. They just
Yeah,
want to go remove the fat.
I think it's slowly fading. I mean, I don't know. That's what I'm seeing on social media, is that it was something that everyone wants to get, but then things start to settle. Women are not exercising as they should, and so the butt is misplaced, and it's shifting, and it's hard, and it's all these things. And I've seen some BBLs that were like, I was at a boxing gym I used to go to. This one woman, she is, I think, in her almost 40s, like late 30s, but she had a BBL a while ago, like maybe 10 or 11 years ago, like way early when they first started doing it. So, I mean, if you see it now, I mean, her body is just, and she knows and she hides it and all that because she's embarrassed of how it looks now. I mean, I think women are not thinking about, okay, when I'm 80, if you make it that long, when I'm 60, Sade, how will it look? You know what I mean? Like, how will a BBL look at even 40 or 50 if you had it in like your 20s? Like, you're not thinking in the long term. And then, like, you know, Avery said, your God-given body, like, just work with your God-given body. And if you work with a trainer, I've seen women, you know, grow their bottom doing the proper glute exercises. No, it's not going to be a capital P, but it may be like, you know, firm and, you know, what your body gave you and loving yourself. I think that's ultimately it. So for me, I mean, I see BBLs now becoming like an easy way out, surgery becoming the easy way out. And it's disheartening. It tells me a lot about your character. When I look at, like, there's things that people do that always tells me about their character. I'm like, okay, so this tells me the kind of personality you are. This tells me you lack innate discipline. You lack that inner voice in yourself. You lack, you know, certain things that tell you like, hey, I need to be more, you know, proactive about this. But yeah, for me, BBL is a hard pass. No, never will go next for anything. And the way I see it in society being like this big thing, I do see it slowly, and in the future, like, people are waking up and saying, like, yeah, this probably is not a good idea. Not saying girls will stop doing it, but I think women now are kind of like realizing, like, hey, this is not sustainable, and if I don't maintain it, like, where the faja every 6 months or whatever, or where it's not going to stay, or, you know, so it's a lot, you know.
Sade, one can argue that you can associate this whole BBL culture with the whole culture of the weave and the fakeness and the fake nail, the fake lashes. What are your thoughts on that? It seems as though in society, and again, it's not only in the Black community, but we're focusing on the Black community, we tend to just take the easy way out in certain things. And I know, as somebody like yourself who was overweight, significantly overweight, looking at you, you cannot tell, by the way, looking at you, you can't tell that you're overweight, but you know, somebody who actually did the work to lose the weight. What are your thoughts on society hyping up or promoting the easy way out in laziness?
You know, that's a good question. This I think quick fix diet culture has been going on for some time. I remember I had my first diet back when I was in 6th grade. And I kind of hopped around and did a whole bunch of different diets, which there's an upside to it as far as you learning healthy eating habits and learning portion control. But it can become a problem when it becomes about like a quick fix. And a lot of us have been trained for the quick fix. It can be, you know, anything as far as like, oh, in 30 days, I made $100,000, follow my marketing program. Or, you know, you go on social media and it's like, oh, 20 days of a new you. And all you got to do is drink this tea or have this apple. You know, it's like they're always, as somebody who worked in a marketing department, we are constantly being told that you just got to do this one thing to get this fast, overwhelming result. All it takes is one quick thing. And it's like, being healthy is actually a lifestyle. It is a lifestyle. There is no quick fix. And I think I somewhere on the line, this generation, I think, learned that things should be easy. And life was, you know, we heard be all you can be, you know what I mean? Like, the sky is the limit. Like, I think we were really sold this as kids, as like, whatever you want to do, whoever you want to be, you can do it. And I'm like, The reality is we all have limitations. And I think when we understand those limitations and understand, the reality of what it takes to complete anything, that like anything worth having takes work, then I think it sets you up for success. But somewhere down the line, I think many of us were told that this should just be easy. This should just come easily. And I'm like, that's just not real life. Also, and I kind of wonder about this. This whole BBL culture, even when you kind of made reference to earlier about Black women and why we more than any other people group are the most overweight. And I just wonder, if again going back to us just not being challenged or not having enough social consequences. For example, I think Sandra made the point about like feminism and how it was really white women who really kind of started this, not only feminism, but this whole body positive movement, right? But within white culture, generally speaking, like they are not as accepting as a bigger women. Like white men in particular, like if you think of the terms like land wells, like some of these terms we're now seeing men in the Black manosphere use, like a lot of that stuff it started in the manosphere, started with the white men being like, we are not for feminism, we are not for our women being overweight. That's why we're going to Thailand. That's why we're going over here. Like we are not messing with overweight. So I think like in the white culture in particular, they're just not as accepting as overweight women. They're just not like I think there's like a big social consequence for it. Whereas in the Black culture, I just think we're a lot more lenient about it. And so again, I wonder how much that affects this whole like BBL. Like I can be 300 pounds, but try to take stomach from here and put it in my butt. As long as I have butt and thighs, it don't matter if I have a gut. It don't matter if I have cankles. It don't matter if I have diabetes and heart disease, as long as I have a butt and breast. Like, but so, I mean, I don't know. That's just, I was thinking about that when you said that. But at the end of the day, nothing worth having comes easy. It requires work. And we have to push back against the propaganda we see in social media. We have to push back against the celebrity culture, because a lot of them can go and get liposuction and cold sculpting and get their bodies bought because their body is their brand. But as an average Black woman coming from, I don't know, rural Alabama, you don't have money to be going to a surgery. You just need to work out and eat healthy. So, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, and well said. Well said. I loved even how you say, you can take you're still 300 pounds, but let me move the fat from my stomach and put it down here, as if that's all that matters. And it reminds me of when I had first discovered Kevin Samuels. He had a caller and she was like, "Oh, I'm 200 pounds, but it's in all the right places." And it's like, sis, 200 pounds is 200 pounds. And something that we don't talk about a lot in our Black communities, in the overall, in general, is visceral fat. I think I'm saying that right, Avery, or even Christine would probably know. Visceral fat, the fat that grows on the inside of your organs. Like that's something that we need to talk about. Like, even though on the outside, yeah, it falls in all the right places. Sis, what's going on with your organs? What's going on with your brain? And a lot of people don't realize that dementia and all those chronic diseases are type 3 diabetes. Dementia is type 3 diabetes. So it comes back down to your eating. So on the outside, your stomach is snatched and your hip is big and your booty is fat. But sis, your brain, and as Christine said, if you make it to 60, you make it. For Sandra and then Avery, I want to talk about the fat phobic, and shout out to this super chat. Honestly, the human body is fat phobic. Its way of shaming is called diabetes. And Sade mentioned that it's a lifestyle change. So these women want to go get the BBL and pose and still 300 pounds, but their waistline, oh my gosh, my neighbor, she looks like a cartoon character. And every time I see her, I'm like, sis, it's like, sis, like everything else is fat. Her arm is fat, her face is fat, her butt and her thighs, and then her stomach is like this. And I'm just like,
I was about to ask, like, what is that? Because I've noticed that where you'll see women where it's just like you are not any smaller than 350 pounds, but they'll have no gut, like not even a puff.
None.
But I'm just like,
They look like Bugs Life. No,
why?
they look like that. That gorilla, that cartoon gorilla guy that has like that's really, really small waist. I don't know what cartoon he's from, but it's like, come on. I don't, and I don't get it. Like, you really looked at your surgeon and said, look, this is what I want to look like really.
So they couldn't afford to get the 360. They could just get the gut. So they couldn't get it out the arms and the thighs and stuff like that. They could only get it out the stomach because, cutting costs.
And how long does that last? Because I'm like, when you gain weight, like, you can't tell your body where to gain weight. So like I said, if you're overweight and you're still eating the same and you got surgery, like, I just wonder about that. Like, is it going to come back? Like, I see that. And I really scratch my head. I'm like, this should be like a science project.
It's going to come back. And the most interesting thing too, is wherever they put the fat cell. So like, say they remove the fat cell from their stomach and put it in their butt. And if they were to gain weight, it will still be proportion because their butt will still be bigger than their stomach. However, if they gain weight, their butt will be extremely big and their stomach will be big. So you see, they don't think through it. They don't think logically. And that even brings me to the question to Sandra, is like, to me, it seems as though it's an issue and they say, okay, let's put a Band-Aid on it. And let's not even like, what are your thoughts on the fact that we are not focusing on the lifestyle, the overall, but we're focusing on, here's a major issue. Here's a Band-Aid. Okay, let's move on. I look good. Let's take these pictures for Instagram.
I feel like it comes from, like we said before, laziness. It also comes from this need for instant gratification. Okay, so a lot of times these waist trainers and the surgeries, things like that, that's practically instant. Okay, you put on the waist trainer, it snatches you in, you put your clothes on, it looks like you've actually been putting in the work, as opposed to actually taking the time, the months, the years to get in a healthy shape and to have a lifestyle that's consistent. Rather than putting in that time and that effort, we would rather go with what's going to be the fastest to get like the illusion of the success that we're wanting. Okay,
so that's what it is. I don't mean to cut you off, but it's an illusion, because even on our social media, we're giving that illusion of this luxury lifestyle. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's facts. Like, it's all an illusion. Even these people that get the BBLs, if you actually take the time to like look into some of these stories, what they'll tell you, not all of them, but some of them will be honest, and they'll tell you, hey, my butt is deformed. I got MRSA in my butt cheek because the surgeon didn't clean the tools properly. And then next thing you know, they got all these different things, these complications. But when they're on the gram, they're not going to post that picture. They're going to put an outfit over it. They're going to smooth it out with the filter. And you're thinking they looking good. Whole time it's lumpy. Whole time it's deformed, lopsided. But because you're able to use these Photoshops and the filters, you can make it look as if it's top notch. Look as if it looks good. But a lot of times that shit don't even look good. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to curse. But a lot of times that just does not, it doesn't actually look good when you see it in person. Now, I've seen some people with the surgeries in person, not here in China, but when I was back in the States, and it looks disgusting. I'm sorry. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look natural. It doesn't look proportionate. It looks crazy as hell. But we live in this delusional world where everyone is focused on these images that they see on the social media, these images that are airbrushed. And, if it's a little lopsided here, they can use the tools on, I don't know what they call it in Photoshop. But the tools to kind of smooth it out and make it look right. And we keep pretending like that's reality, and it's not.
100% is like we just live in this delusion. Like, you can see, who was it? Keisha, I don't know, these celebrity people. She's from a I think she sings too. I don't know these people's names. K Michelle. No, is it K? And like, she was twerking and her butt fell in one of the videos and she had to grab it real quick. I don't know if it's K Michelle. It's one of them. Yeah, she was twerking and her butt came loose. And it's just like, sis, I mean, we're just putting on this illusion. We're putting on this fantasy. Sade, you want to say something?
I'm just saying, low key, I feel like this is false advertising. And I feel, honestly, I feel bad for men in the dating market right now, because it's just like, between the cake up, You know what I mean? And all the weaves and the sandals and then the body shapers and the butt lifters. It's like, what is real? And I'm like, if you're I just be like, it must be really difficult to figure out, okay, how does she really look? What does her face really look like? What does her body really look like? Because it's like men are visual, and it's like, you know, you want to at least have some physical attraction to the person you're with. But if like 60% of her is made up, how you gonna know? So I'm like, I feel bad for dudes these days because you can't, as a guy, as a poor guy, it's a lot harder to flaunt to be like you got money or be rich. But like as a female, like we got all these little extra things to make us look like what we're not. So I mean that it's just the struggle is real. I feel sorry for these guys. I ain't gonna lie.
Me too. And I love how you say, you know, if a guy is broke, there's only so much he can do to
You
pretend
can
that he's not
do
broke.
right.
But for women, it's like we can go the extreme to pretend that we're pretty.
Extreme.
Avery, I want you to talk about the lifestyle because it is a lifestyle. Like being healthier, looking the part, it's a lifestyle. However, we find that so many of these women just want to, as you said, you know, they don't want to look like the body that God gave them. They want that snatch waist, and so I'm pretty sure you can relate to as a personal trainer. They'll come to you and say, I want to lose weight right here, but I want to keep it right here, and then I want to
Girl.
do this right here, and yeah, like yeah. Yes. And I know on our live stream we had last week, we talked about the bad bee versus the whole woman. And what are your thoughts on just the lifestyle? Like these women just want to put a band-aid on it. They just want to post and put on an image on social media, but they don't want to adopt these healthy lifestyle that will help us and or children in the long run.
Right, right. And like the rest of the ladies spoke on it, that it's a lifestyle, it's a process, it's something that you cannot do overnight. There's no, like, you can't do a quick fix, you can't do the band-aid. I have had a ton of clients who came to me after having surgeries and they gained the weight back. But because they had a surgery, they didn't gain it back in a cute way. They gained it back and it comes back in like fat pockets, right? Like it comes, so like if you had something sucked out here, it may come back here, here, and here. So it's lumpier, right? Before you may have had just a nice low roll. Now they're wishing that they had their muffin tops back, and they're wishing that they had their rolls back. And it's coming here, here, and here. And I told all my women, I share with them anything that I had done. Like, I'm gonna tell you guys, I had 3 kids. I nursed. I got my breast done in 2012. I want to say September 2012. But as far as everything else, work, discipline, you know what I'm saying? Like, me really staying focused, me making it a part of my mental health journey actually helped me stick to it, right? Me making it a part of, okay, this is going to add years to my life. This is a way for me, because when I was married and I had kids, I was constantly pouring out to everybody. So I also made it a part of my self-love, right? So we're huge on this self-love journey, which I talk about. I was like, okay, if I love myself, I'm going to take care of myself. And I used to tell them, like, look, they would come in, prime example, I may have, oh, Lord, forgive me, somebody that's 5'2" and built like SpongeBob. And they show me a picture of Serena Williams and say they want to look like that. Okay, first of all, if I could make you look like that, we wouldn't even be standing here talking, right? Like, if I had that magic potion to do that, like, that's just not your build. So they used to get, like, they would laugh at me, but they understood it was love and I was being honest. I'm like, look, this is your build. This is the body that you have. This is what we can do in here. Then at the end, once you get your mind right, once you put in the work, once you get past the phase of when you hit a plateau, you know what I'm saying? It's not always you're just going to run and your body's going to transform. You're going to hit a plateau. You're going to want to give up. Your why has to be bigger. So if you're like, no, I want to be in here. I want to do this so I can feel like myself. I want to do this because I feel uncomfortable in my skin. I want to do this for my husband, for my family, for my kids, for myself. If you have a why and you can push through all those, you know, the hard workouts, the time that you want to throw up, when you're in there cussing me out or another trainer, when you're, you know, like I said, when you hit that plateau, when the scale isn't moving, when you're just completely frustrated, can you still hang in there and make it a lifestyle change to where if your job changes, if your kid gets sick, if you have to pick up on move, it's still a part of your life. Yeah, your workouts or whatever your normal routine is might get interrupted, but it starts from the inside. You have to hang on to that why. If your why is for the gram, if your why is so you can look good in in Miami, and depending on what type of woman you are, you should not be going to Miami anyway during Memorial Day weekend. That's for the ratchets. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. But if your why is for something like that, you're not going to do it, right? So they come to me, they get this work done, and then they're like, what do I do? Now you have to pay somebody to see the work that you know what I'm saying, to see what you did, to see your investment instead of just investing. At the end of the day, I had a lady who came in, transformed her mind, transformed her body, and she still had some here and some here. I'm like, girl, you know what? You've been in this over a year. If you want to get that cut off, not to count your pockets, get it cut off. If you're happy with it, if it doesn't bother you anymore because you've done all the other stuff, you've done the hard work, then leave it. You know what I'm saying? But if you think you can just go get something sucked out, go do this, go do that, and not invest in your insides, not rework the insides. Like I put in the chat, I'm like, why would you buy a house, completely remodel the outside, but the inside, the foundation's faulty? The plumbing doesn't work. The wiring is bad. You don't have the living conditions are not favorable. That's what people are doing. That's what that's what they're doing to their bodies. And they look at me like, did you get this? No. Like I said, I got these babies done because I was nursing my kids, right? That is the only reason. I never would have done it. My ex-husband, my husband then, he never said anything about it. He didn't care or whatever. When I owned the fitness gym, I didn't, work out or do anything because somebody was like, oh, you need to look like this. I did it for myself. I did it because heart disease runs in my family. My mom had 98% blockage on a main artery and she was active, right? She was active. She was walking. She was riding her bike. But I'm like, oh no, like I'm not going to be this. And like I said earlier, some people are going to get triggered and be upset. I didn't want to be another fat black baby mama. Because that's what we look at each other and we thinking like, oh, she had kids, her kid, like my kids are 13, 11, and 6. I am not going to be sitting up and using them as an excuse. And they're active. And not only that, like it kind of is a flex. It's a flex that I am 39. It's a flex that I have 3 kids and I had 3 C-sections and I am still trying to take care of myself. But I'm telling you guys, if more women thought about it as taking care of their mental health, and making an investment into, loving themselves and their maintenance, like we do the hair and the nails and the eyelashes and everything else, then hopefully we can change this. But also don't shame those of us, like the women that are on the panel, for wanting to take care of ourselves, right? For wanting to end those generational curses of obesity and dysfunctional relationships with food and eating and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, that's my take. I have a lot to say, so stop.
I love it though. I love it. I tell my clients that focus on the health, focus on being healthy, and then the weight will just fall off. It's a mindset. It's a mindset, 100%. Christine, I know you got to go. What are your final thoughts?
Yeah. So pretty much my final thoughts are like what we said. I think someone mentioned that, we're picking at people's bodies, or it's not about pointing fingers at bodies. It's about literally being healthy and wanting us to want to be healthy moving forward, changing generational curses, working with our God-given bodies. So I appreciate all of you guys for having me on here. And this discussion was well needed. I will share it with everyone I know. I follow all of you. And so, let's keep up the conversation. I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Christina. We appreciate you coming on, even though you don't have a channel. I just love you for coming on. All right, enjoy the rest of your Friday night. All right, let me get through the super chat. I know we're wrapping up soon because I know a couple of you guys have to go. Sam, shout out to Sam. This is the beginning of a movement. Black men and Black women will find each other again. Shout out to you, Sam. Always in here being optimistic about Black women and Black men finding each other. And I think the more we have these conversations, the closer we'll be to finding each other and working together. Because one thing I know for sure, I had a client, my last client that I had in Florida, right? They were 8 and 12. The 8-year-old was 208 pounds. The 12-year-old was 190 pounds. Borderline diabetes. I know for sure if they had a dad in the household, if they had a strong masculine figure energy in the household, that wouldn't have happened. Their mom was overweight too, and she had 100% She had, say 100%. She had 105 excuses as to why her kids are fat, and none of them is her responsibility. It's either the school lunch, it's either what they're eating outside. It's like, come on, sis. Your 8-year-old is 208 pounds and it's not you? Okay. All right. So shout out to Sam. I think the more we have these conversations, the easier it will be for Black men and Black women to find each other. Shout out to Miss Crimson here, Miss Kendra. Thank you so much for supporting and showing up, supporting the conversation and the sister. Thank you so much, Miss Kendra. Love you, Miss Kendra. Um, let's see. As you guys, if you guys haven't liked already, please go ahead and like this live stream. We're having an awesome, necessary conversation with the lovely ladies on the panel. King T said, just here to support this beautiful panel of sister. Thank you so much, King T. I must say, the panel is it's so refreshing to sit and talk to you guys, and it's not no shouting over each other. It's not no, it's, it's awesome to have. And we need to do this more often, because I think we don't see it often in our community. Eugene, shout out to Eugene, always here supporting. Body positivity seems more like this guy's unhealthy delusion, most definitely. And they hide behind the body positivity movement, so we can't talk about it. But we're talking about it because it's YouTube, and you can talk about whatever you want to talk about on YouTube. So we're going to continue talking about it. Miss Crimson said, when you see the very small waist and the big everything else, she's doing a combo of waist trainers all day and procedure. Fat doesn't do that. Exactly. You can't be fat in everywhere. You can't be fat everywhere else and your waistline is just so swollen. God bless her soul. Let me see. Did I miss anybody else? Miss Crimson Cure says, huge butt with chicken legs, not a good look, sis. Not a good look at all. But you can't tell them that. They'll take Jesus off the cross that they had. They look good. When Memorial Weekend come around and they're on South Beach, if they don't listen to Avery, they're on South Beach for Memorial Weekend. You can't tell them nothing. Herman says, and life to their years. Oh, I think you said that when Avery was talking about the benefits of being healthy and fit. I live 20 minutes away from New York City. I got 2 gym membership. I go to multiple gyms in the New Jersey and New York City. I do not see a lot of Black women in the gym. My female cousin, who is a fitness trainer, agree with me. Yeah, most definitely. I have probably like 7 gym memberships. Judge me if you must. But hardly any Black women in the gym, even in the areas where, like in the Black communities. In the Black communities, you'll find like Planet Fitness and YouFit gyms, and hardly any Black women. My clients were the Black women who were my clients. They were overweight, except for one. I had one client who was Black and she was fit, but the other ones, they're overweight and they're full of excuses. So many excuses. Like I cannot. And I know Avery, I know you can relate. All these excuses. Trey Baby says the Jamaican got it. Oh, thank you so much. I think I got everybody. Oh no, Trey Baby said again, the Jamaican goddess. Thank you. All right. Shout out to everybody who's in the chat. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like the live stream and go ahead and subscribe to these lovely ladies channel. We're having a great conversation about obesity in the Black community. For those of you guys who are just coming in, the obesity rate in the Black community amongst Black women is 55%. So more than half of us are obese, not overweight. There's a difference between being obese and being overweight, and more than half of us are obese. I want to say it's 38% of Black men are obese. So that's a huge difference. And then in the white community, only 36% of white women are obese. So Black women, like, we're not talking just talk. We're not talking to attack anybody. This is conversations that we need to have. And I want to say, Avery, you brought up a point that I want to dive into a little bit more. Do you guys think that obesity correlates with self-hate? We'll start with Sade, Avery, and then Sandra. Do you think obesity correlates with self-hate?
Absolutely. I think it does. I interviewed 2 women about maybe like 2-3 weeks ago. One had gotten to be up to 500 pounds. One had gotten to be up to like 350, 375. And, we were talking about their health journey. They together have lost like 400 pounds, which is like the size of two linebackers. So they have a really interesting story. And I was talking to them, and they both were very, very honest about the emotional state they were at when they were at their heaviest. And I remember one lady saying in particular, because I asked them about the body positive movement, having been morbidly obese, both of them having been morbidly obese and lost over, 400 pounds. I was like, okay, so what are your thoughts on the body positive movement? Like, you more than anyone would know. And one of them was like, you know what, honestly, like when I was at my heaviest, I was it was like a faking it till you make it. Right. I was telling these things to myself because I wanted to kind of make myself feel better. But honestly, deep inside, I didn't feel good about myself. And she's like, it wasn't even mental. Forget about the mental. It was like physically, I did not feel good about myself. So it's like, if you're at a point, because like I said, it's one thing to be, maybe you're naturally a little chunkier or naturally more curvier. Like, I think there needs to be acceptance for the fact that everybody's bodies look different. Not everybody's going to be a supermodel. Not everybody's meant to be, tall. Some people are short. So I think it's okay to have acceptance of the human variation. But if your life, what the habits that you are producing is making you feel uncomfortable, if you're 100 pounds overweight, you don't feel good. You're tired, you may be sweating all the time, your back hurts, your knee hurts, your shoulder hurts, your neck hurts, you hurt, you know what I mean? Like, you don't feel good, you're tired, you're lethargic. And so for you to continue to not like your results, right? And then feed and do behavior that's producing negativity to you, what is positive about that? There's nothing positive about, like I said, you being pre-diabetic, or you being at risk for heart disease, or for you, like I said, having sleep apnea. When you start getting to a certain place, it's hard for you to sleep. You being lethargic all the time, you having a hard time concentrating, you having emotional mood swings. All those things are correlated with, bad health, bad eating choices. And so I definitely think it takes a level of, what do you want to call it, self-hatred. There's no way you can value yourself and then treat yourself like a garbage can. And if you're eating junk food, literally, if you think of the term junk food, you're eating junk, which I don't think junk food should even be in the same classification as like an organic, like salmon, or, you know what I mean? Or fresh organic vegetables. They're not even the same classification. But like I said, how are you loving yourself if you're feeding yourself junk? If you're not giving yourself what your body needs? That's not love. So yes, to answer your point, I do think some of it is motivated by self-hatred. And I think as women, we have to get to the point where we recognize we are worth the effort. I am worth the effort of going and working, doing maybe a 30, 40-minute cardio, doing weight training. I'm worth the effort that it takes to do planks and do push-ups and lift weights. I am worth it. And I think some of us have to get past the whole, oh, this is hard, and be like, if you love yourself, if you love your kids, your family, love isn't just always nice and fluffy and makes you feel good. Sometimes love is constructive. So you have to be constructive to yourself even, and make sure that you're doing the things that are going to be good for you. To me, that's really body positive. That's really self-love.
Yes,
So
I agree with you 100%. And Herman's comment on the screen, be the best you can be. And I tell my clients this all the time. I tell my friends who struggle with their weight, I tell everybody this all the time. When we have these conversations, we're not talking about you being a size 2 or you being a stick figure or anything like that. We're talking about you being healthy. And honestly, as you said, Sade, you perfectly said, can you genuinely love yourself if you treat yourself like trash? If you treat yourself, love is holding yourself accountable. Thank you, Avery. Avery, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think obesity correlates with self-hate?
100%. 100%. I know there's going to be people, as usual, that are like, oh, well, no, it's this or it's that. I get it, right? A lot of it is also unresolved hurt and self-hate, but we all get to a point, even with that, it's like, it's all your choice. We all, at the end of the day, we all have a choice. So I know people who had, some traumatic childhoods, and it led to an emotional eating and a dysfunctional relationship with food. But then as an adult, it's your job still to unpack that. It's your job to go get the help, go get the therapist, the counselor, the psychiatrist, the trainer, whatever you need to get a team of people to help you get to where you need to be. So you can't use that as an excuse either, right? And like Sade said, like, if you love yourself, you take care of yourself. If you have a car, if I get a new car and I'm supposed to put premium in it, why am I I'm not going to put diesel in it, right? Because I took my money, I made an investment. That is my vehicle. I care about it. I need to be able to use it. I needed to run. I needed to do what it's supposed to do. Why would I put the wrong gas into it, right? Why would I put something that's not meant for it? It's the same thing with our bodies. You get one. You need it to do what it needs to do. You know what I'm saying? You need this thing, as they would say, right? Like, so why would you put garbage in it? Why would you put the wrong stuff in it? Why would you not take care of it? And I'm telling you, I'll say it again. Black women, we are some of the largest group, one of the largest groups of consumers. We can make it work. You don't have to have a lot of money. You don't have to sit up and meal prep, 4 hours a day. I have people that are like, oh, you probably work out every day and you're in the gym for hours. Really? Even though I own a gym, I don't want to be in the gym for hours. I literally spent years of my life in the gym. Like my kids took their first steps. They crawled to the gym. It was, it was my life. But no, I'm at a point now where I know what to do to maintain, right? I know how to play with my cardio. I know when to lift more. I know when to do more body weight exercises. I know when I'm going to plank more, do more resistance training. It is a science that I have tried to, that I've had to figure out. In the beginning, you have to be disciplined. You do have to be strict. But before that, like I said before, you have to be able to look in the mirror and say, okay, like, do I love myself right now? You know what I'm saying? Do I currently love myself? Do I love the way I feel? Do I love the way I look? And if you don't, if there's an inkling and you don't, then do something about it. You get one body, you get one you. And if you love yourself, you will take care of yourself. So I think a lot of people need to stop getting hung up on things that people are saying, right? Or if they saw the title of this, like, oh, I can't believe they would do that. Don't get hung up on that, right? Get hung up on, are you doing what you're supposed to do to take care of yourself? Get hung up on the fact that you don't have a healthy relationship with yourself. Work on the relationship with yourself. For me, it was not about somebody saying like, oh, you need to look like this, you need to look like that. And like I said, yes, I didn't want to be a stereotype, right? I didn't want to be the type of woman that was like, oh, it's just another overweight Black woman who had kids. That was least of it. But I wanted to do something for myself. I felt disconnected from who I was as a woman. I felt kind of like out of sorts. Kids had just kind of took over my body. I was married. We were building a business and a brand. And so it was a way for me to spend time with myself and to water and nurture who I am as a woman and as a human being. So I think, like I said, instead of people getting hung up on, oh, they said fat, or oh, they said this, or they're making fun of people's bodies, that is the last thing we're doing. What we're doing is, I wish I had a flashlight. We're just taking the flashlight and being like this, right? We can be body positive. We can make sure that fitness is more inclusive and all of that kind of stuff. But make sure that the message we're sending is about people having a healthy relationship with self, loving themselves and taking care of themselves. Because at the end of the day, baby, that waist can be snatched. You can have that big ant booty, but diabetes is diabetes. High cholesterol is high cholesterol. Blood pressure, huffing and puffing, like you got on red bottoms and designer from head to toe. But girl, you about to pass out getting out the car. You can't even walk up a flight of stairs. But you're telling me that you love yourself? No, you love the attention. You want to do stuff for the gram. But then when you get home, like, you're upset. And we were saying that some people like, Sade said the ladies that were like, oh, you fake it till you make it. Lizzo, prime example. Absolutely adore her. She is not happy the way she is. The way she does, she goes overboard with the stuff that she wears and everything like that. She is covering up the fact that she is unhappy. She is insecure. She is unhealthy. But what she's doing is she's like, no, I'm going to take the power away from you guys, right? So I'm going to be on here in a thong and in a bikini, and I'm going to do all this stuff and put myself on display and kind of poke fun at myself because now you don't get the chance to do it because you're going to do it anyway. She's not happy. Have you seen her on her social media breaking down, right? She is human. And that's what she's known for as Lizzo, the overweight singer, the one that does this instead of her talent. She is extremely talented, but we focus on all of this and she tries to cover up and like, okay, like I'm gonna shed light on it and make it seem like you guys are shaming me and this, and this. No, she's ashamed herself. She's ashamed herself and it's 100% understandable. But we have to, there's a lot of stuff we need to stop. But also, like I said, at the end of the day, you love yourself, you'll take care of yourself, and you'll hold yourself accountable. Oh wait, I think you're muted.
Sorry. Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, when I love that you guys mentioned that, because when I was at my heaviest at 171, I felt so horrible. It just you just feel bad. You just feel drained. You feel jar like you don't want to do anything. And like with Lizzo, I can't even imagine being 300 pounds. Like, oh my gosh, and the pain that you're probably in. So a lot of those women, those body positivity women who want to say like, oh, love yourself. Yes, I'm not saying hate yourself, but because you're at a certain weight. But if you really genuinely loved yourself, you would have been focused on being the best version of yourself. And that includes your weight. And shout out to I the the comment on the screen. I don't, I'm not even gonna try. All right. She said, yep, I was at one point. I'm sorry. I was at that point a year ago. I was almost 200 pounds. I'm 4'11". Wow. I was so scared, but I'm glad I decided that last January to join Tiffany. I don't know who that is. Online gym definitely changed my life. And shout out to you for doing something to change your life. Huge shout out to you. And Avery, you mentioned something earlier in your comment. You said to put on music and dance, you burn calories. There are so many YouTube videos that you can watch to lose weight. There's this one girl, shout out to her. I think her name is Kiera Lachey. She has these soca 1 mile walk where like you literally be standing like dancing and it's equivalent to 1 mile. I used to kill that back in the days. There's fitness blend. There's
Yep.
fitness blender, like a white lady and a white man. Like obviously their body type is nothing that I wanted, but I used to kill those workouts. You know, you can buy DVD. You don't even have to buy a DVD. Scratch that. There's so many YouTube videos that you can watch. There's so many people on YouTube that you can watch and just mimic that. And if all else fails, go outside and walk. At the end of the day, it comes down to calories in versus calories out, and we just have too many excuses. Sandra, what are your thoughts on this whole obesity correlating with self-hate?
It's it's facts. Okay, when you love something, you take care of it. All right, when you value something, you take care of it. Okay, if you're gonna go out of your way to keep your white sneakers white, you're gonna go out of your way to keep your inches looking sleek and snatched. That shows what you care about. Now, if you are, not taking care of the things that you're eating, not putting in the work to exercise and things like that, that tells me that you do have a sense of um of self-hate for who you are. Because when you love yourself, you take care of yourself. And this has come from someone like I've struggled with my weight. Okay. I've struggled with it throughout my life. And the parts of my life where I was, mentally low, depressed, going through all these different things, that's when my weight gain was worse. Okay. That's when I had issues with my weight. And when I was coming out of it and feeling better about myself, that's when my weight was a lot better. I was in the gym, or I was working out, I was exercising, eating better, taking care of myself. And so I hate this. I hate how self-love has been hijacked and given a makeover for the worse, because loving yourself means taking care of yourself. Okay, that's why they put a focus on, relaxation, or, taking time to meditate and things like that, because it's about taking care of yourself. And part of that is taking care of your health. Okay, don't let these people out here on these social medias that don't give a F about you. Okay, we don't know who's lacing their pockets to tell you to keep eating that cake, or who's funding, or doing these mukbangs that show you the KFCs and things like that. I would be very interested to see how many of them get paid to promote that negative lifestyle. I always try to go back to where the money is. Okay, so who is profiting off of us eating ourselves to death? So these people out here that promote that lifestyle, they are probably getting paid on the back end where you don't know it, to promote these negative lifestyles to you. And so I think that we really need to try to take our emotion out of it. Okay, when someone is telling you, a place where you can do better or trying to encourage you to do better, that doesn't mean that they're just being a-hole. Okay, I'm trying to keep it PG. I'm not trying not to cuss. They're not trying to be an a-hole to you. People who keep it real with you, they're going to tell you things that are sometimes a little bit harsh, a little bit, maybe it triggers you or maybe it hurts your feelings a little bit, because they're the ones being honest with you. Now, obviously there's a line where, someone could be hateful. Obviously you don't want to deal with people that are hateful, but if they're literally telling you like, look, I see you going down this path, I'm concerned. Okay, I'm concerned. I want you to be here for a long amount of time because I love you as a person. Then you might want to take a look at the things that they're talking about. Not everyone is critiquing you just because they want to put you down and make you feel worse. It's one of those things where you might not even realize how much weight you've gained. Because I know there's been some times where, I'm eating like trash, and then one day I look in the mirror, I'm like, wait a minute. Where'd that come from? It's just like you sometimes don't know. And so that's why it's important that we realize like we're social creatures. We're meant to, see ourselves through the eyes of others at times. So the people around you, when they tell you like, hey, I see this, that's not necessarily someone just trying to be mean or hateful. That's just an extra pair of eyes to see something that maybe we're not seeing within ourselves. And that can be tough love. We've misconstrued the word love. Okay. People are saying that love is just, telling people what they want to hear, stroking their ego, making them feel good. But when I tell you, that is not what love is. Love is something that is going to encourage you to be better. Love is something that's going to steer you in the right direction. Love is going to be the one that's going to tell you the truth, even if it's going to make you feel some type of way. It's the people that want to lead you down a path of destruction that is going to stroke your ego, tell you everything is fine. Oh, it's okay. All the while you're headed off a cliff. Okay. Those snakes in the grass, they're the ones who are going to make you feel good about your self-hate and your destruction of yourself. So we really need to revisit this word love and figure out what it actually means, because it's not the self-love that they keep promoting through the fat positivity, all this other stuff. And there's one more point I wanted to bring up, is that body positivity had nothing to do with things that are completely in your control. Body positivity started for people that were like burn victims, people that were missing, limbs or disfigured, things like that people can't control. They can't change that. That's what body positivity was for. Okay. It was not for overweight women. And I didn't say overweight men because you see how they fat shamed 50 Cent, even though he's not fat, that it's ridiculous. And so, when we think about body positivity, it's supposed to be for the people that have real issues that they can't change, but things that they were born with that are deformities, things of that nature. Not because you can't put the Twinkies down, okay? Not because you don't know what a carrot is, okay? That's not what it is. That's not what body positivity was for, okay? It was for the people that maybe they, went off to war and they lost a leg, or maybe, they were born something. It's like, let's just be honest about what body positivity was for and how these people hijacked that movement and kicked them out.
Well said, Sandra. Well said. I love that you touch on the fact that body positivity wasn't for no fat woman to just give her the pass to be fat. All right, positivity was for burn victim, people with disability, people who even are like, working out and healthy at a healthy weight, but you're insecure about something. It's like body positivity. That's something you can change. It's not about the things that you can change, that you have the power to change. This is such an awesome conversation. I knew I asked you guys for a reason. Thank you guys so much. It's like just straight gems be dropping. And I think we're going to have to do a part 2 because we got to leave soon. And I did want to talk about solutions, but in your closing statement, just put in a few solutions in there. Like, what are things, I know everybody on this panel did struggle with their weight one time in their life. What are some things you did that helped you for my business, I always stress that fitness and being healthy is not a cookie cutter thing. Not because Cheshire Day workout plan and routine and diet work for her doesn't mean that it's going to work for me. But hopefully, if you guys share your tips and little things that you do, maybe somebody can adapt yours and it will work for them. Let's start with Sharday, Avery, and then Sandra.
I am a Zumba certified instructor.
Wait, start over. You were muted.
I said, okay. I said, well, okay, so shameless plug. I am a Zumba certified instructor. So back to Avery's point earlier, if you just need to move, to burn some calories, give me a follow, because I'm going to be starting to post some of my Zumba or different dance workout routines. So just stay tuned for that. But I would say, as far as different things that I did, there's a variation of things. I like what Sandra had said about not being able to change things, like body positive being about accepting things that you can't change. And I think that is like the first step, is like you have to accept first, like who you are, like who God made you to be. And I would say for me, again, that emotional journey of really trying to identify things about myself that maybe I didn't like, or things that were triggering me, or things that were causing me to emotionally eat binge, that really made a big difference. And so, that's where having like a support really helped, starting to have like safe friendships, safe relationships where I could kind of express those things with, having people who could encourage me. Like, I mean, my sister, she also runs her own fitness business. And so she's a great point of encouragement, because, that's her lifestyle. I also have another a close friend of mine who has PCOS, it's a rare condition that woman has that legitimately does impact metabolism. Unlike a lot of these women out there talking about, oh, my thyroid is like PCOS, that is one of those rare conditions where women, it does impact metabolism. So, we've had conversations about different ways of like having self-acceptance of like, she probably will never be a size 2 because of her condition, right? But it's like, this is what God has given me. This is who I am as a person, emotion, all those different things. And like really, really, really dealing with that and starting to love yourself. Because when I think you start to value yourself internally, you start to value who God has made you to be, then it's easier for you to start to make decisions that reflect that. So I would say for me, my process really did start internal, because those internal messages about myself, or some of those unprocessed feelings, were the things that are driving me to make bad decisions about myself. And especially us women being emotional, our logic being emotion sometimes more than logic itself. I think it's important that we have a strong grasp on our emotional well-being, so we make sure that we are controlling it and those things aren't controlling us. So that was, for me, a big thing. Having safe friends. For me, I found a really good, healthy church group that I could get connected with and have those conversations. And then after that, once as you're doing that internal work, practical things, like it doesn't have to be an overwhelming, like 180-degree turnaround. I think if you look at this as, hey, this is a journey. This isn't like a sprint per se. This is like a journey, or this is a marathon. This is going to be lasting for a long time. Then it's like, okay, you can, instead of you having a Snicker, okay, I grabbed an apple. Like you start to celebrate those small decisions, because you don't get 200 pounds overweight overnight. So you're not going to lose that weight overnight. And I think if you recognize, hey, this is a journey, this is a lifestyle, then I think you can start to celebrate those healthier steps, and it becomes more manageable. So that's what I'm saying. Like, getting the emotional healing, dealing with the internal stuff that may be driving you to do bad decisions, then start taking really, really practical, small steps. You know what I mean? Set small goals for yourself. Okay, this week I'm going to have more fruits and vegetables, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or I'm going to try to drink, at least 8 glasses of water, or I'm going to try to walk, 3 times a week just for, 30 minutes, like just whatever those goals are, you start setting those. And then you do it, you do it. It's simple. If you mess up, okay, you get back on, you just keep on at it. Because like I said, if you're on a journey, even if you're driving, even if your car stops, your tire falls off, you have to get it changed. As long as you keep going, you're eventually going to get to your goal. So you just don't stop. Also, accountability. And that kind of goes back to my first point about having people you can share your emotions with and be safe with. Also, make sure you have accountability partners. Sometimes the worst thing you can do is be around people who encourage bad habits. So if you have friends who are encouraging you to binge eat or encouraging you to go at 1 a.m. and go through the McDonald's drive-through, and they don't want to support you in your health journey, maybe get new friends or expand your friendships, your social group, and try to find people who are in that space in their life where they want healthier decisions, because they're out there. So those were different things that I did. And like I said, it's taken me years to kind of get to this point where I feel like food doesn't control me anymore. I have a stronger grasp on it. For me, if I go a day or two without exercising, it feels weird. I don't crave certain foods. I crave kale, I crave salad, I crave salmon. Like, that's weird. But it's because it was a journey, and I realized that this is a part of my lifestyle. This is a part of me honoring the temple God has given me. And since someday you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that there was a time when I would have binged eat on an entire pizza and Oreos and a carton of ice cream and whipped cream and peanut butter by myself. And now I don't do that. So I hope I was making sense, but yeah.
Most definitely. Thank you. And I know you have to go. So thank you so much for coming up and sharing your thoughts. Or if you don't have to go, I don't know. I think Avery, I think you have to go. So let's hear Avery's. Let's hear Avery's closing. Pardon me?
You said I have a few more minutes, so I can stay on for the ladies, and then I'll.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So no, what Sade was saying, some of the same things she did, I have definitely done, but and since she focused a lot on the emotional support, the accountability, and all that, I am going to focus on some of the food, the more like everyday choices, right? The first thing is, like I said, exercise, food, the whole fitness, health, and wellness is extremely overwhelming. I get it. Like, you can go on social media and you are bombarded with so many messages. Do this diet, keto, organic this, vegan this, high fat, low sugar, all that kind of stuff. One thing I will say, especially for Black women, cheese, cheese is not our friend. Cheese is not our friend. Ice cream is not our friend. Whipping cream is not our friend. Alfredo sauce is not our friend. Any of those heavy whipping creams, cheese, sugary stuff, this is why I'm saying this, right? You can literally see it store itself in fat pockets like a camel. Another thing that a lot of, and this is just from, I've worked with thousands of women of color. I've worked with a ton of white women too, but the women of color, another thing that I've noticed is, for my hairdressers and my nurses, you guys have some of the worst eating habits, right? And sometimes you'll say, oh, I really don't eat a lot. I eat salad. Okay, but your body needs a certain amount of, certain carbs, healthy fats, certain amount of sugar. You need stuff to run, right? So when you're like, oh, I really don't eat that much, I just eat once, or I just eat this, what are you eating? Your body is also going to take that and hold on to anything that you eat. Your metabolism is going to go kaput because your body's in starvation mode and it doesn't know when it's going to get its next meal. So, for example, I would have a ton of people who would come in and say, I only eat twice a day. And I'm like, okay, the first thing we're going to do, small, right? We're going to start small. Like Sade said, you didn't gain this weight overnight. You're not going to lose it overnight. It's a process. So for those of you that have poor eating habits, as far as you don't even eat enough and you're active and busy, if you eat twice a day, throw in a snack, throw in 2 snacks, right? So now you have your 2 meals and you have 2 snacks. If you drink Pepsi and you eat ice cream and you eat pizza, I'm not going to tell you to stop everything right away, but remove some of the things, right? So say, okay, I'm going to give up Pepsi for a couple of weeks. I'm going to give up this. And once it shocks your body and you start to see, because early on, if you're really bad, you will see the changes, you will feel it. Then you go from there. It's about small changes and things that are realistic for your lifestyle. So if you're working 12-hour days, or you have something else, I don't expect you to go to the gym every day and to meal prep every meal. You have to find little things that you can do to start tweaking it, right? Because if you're coming from the couch, I don't expect you to train for Ironman. If you're coming from the couch, I don't expect you to be in the Boston Marathon, right? So you're coming from the couch, then what are we going to do? We're going to start walking. We're going to start dancing. We're going to start doing this. If you're coming from eating like complete crap, start taking some of it out, right? I love French fries. I love French fries. I will not give up French fries, but I also love ice cream. But I don't like ice cream is way worse for me. I may eat ice cream once every 3 months, right? Because I know my body and I know I can eat some fries and I can work. I know what it takes for me to work it off and to burn it off instead of eating ice cream. So find out really kind of what agrees with your body and what doesn't, and get rid of the stuff that you can literally see sitting. Another thing it's here. Like, I'm going to go back to that. Your why. If you're just like, oh, I'm just going to do this because I need to lose weight for a wedding, or I want to go be a hot girl in Miami, or I want to do this, or I want to do that, you're not ready. If your why is, I don't like this, I'm at my rock bottom, I'm uncomfortable, I can't breathe, my knees hurt, you know what I'm saying? If it's any of those things, cling to that. If it's health reasons, cling to that. But you don't always have to wait until you're borderline, all of these serious health problems. If you feel uncomfortable in your skin, that is your why. Do whatever you got to do to where you start feeling comfortable and stick to it. Some days you're going to be easier than others. Another tip, don't get on that scale. Don't get on it. If you need to have a friend or a trainer or somebody that you trust, get on the scale initially, take your measurements, and then just start doing the work. Don't get back on there for another 4 weeks, because especially as a woman, that can be obsessive, right? If we drink water, if we eat something, we may blow up. If, we don't sleep well, we may swell. If you're about to be on your cycle, you may get bigger, so don't do that, because that will play tricks with your mind. And you want to make sure that you can mentally withstand this journey, that you can mentally withstand the transformation that you are trying to make before you start doing everything else. And of course, the exercise, not looking at it as, oh, I have to go work out, right? So park farther away from the door and walk up the flight of stairs, dance, right? Even like we said, like, there's all these workouts. I have seen you all twerk and do a million different things, right? You don't even have to have a dance routine. Just turn the music on, turn on Spotify, turn on Apple Music, dance in your kitchen. Another trick, I am huge. This is funny. So I am really big on jumping jacks, right? If you can do jumping jacks, it is one of the best exercises you can do. So I used to have my clients, I used to tell them, okay, when you wake up, when you get out the bed, make sure you're not like foggy or whatever. Get up, do some jumping jacks. Walk into the bathroom, brush your teeth, do some jumping jacks. Just find little ways to move and to break it down and to make it realistic for you and your lifestyle. And you'll look up and one day you'll be, oh my God, I've been at it for 2 months. Oh my, I've been at it for 4 months and I didn't quit. I've been at it for 6 months and I'm not starting a new diet every Monday. And it becomes a lifestyle change. And then, when life's curveballs come in, whether it's, like something with a job or a kid or a wedding, you're not completely thrown off. You just make the necessary adjustments and you keep on moving. Okay, I'm done. I know there's a lot more, but we need to do another panel next.
Yeah, we definitely need to follow up on this one. I love all your tips. I love the fact that you said do them every day. Like, it's not a different diet every Monday, but it's a lifestyle. And that's actually the mission statement for my business is find a diet that you can stick to find a diet, I use that word loosely, that you can stick to until it becomes a lifestyle. Because it starts with your mental, and we're trying to build lifestyle changes for lifelong results. Thank you so much, Avery. Those were all solid points. I hope somebody, if it's one person, took something away from that. Sandra, what are some tips? What are some solutions?
Well, one of the things that I would definitely suggest is find a physical activity that you enjoy, that you love. Okay, because not everyone likes to go to the gym and lift the weights and things like that. So I understand. Me personally, I could put my headphones on, put on a good playlist, and ride a bike for hours, and just push through it. And it's just fun. Like, it's a good time. And you don't really feel that you've, worked as hard as you did until you get off the bike and you like, wait a minute, what are legs? So it's just, find an activity that you enjoy, that brings you joy, and then put your energy towards doing that. Okay, if you're not a gym person, that's fine. Just find something that you like to do. If it's dancing or going for long walks or anything like that, that's what's really going to keep you in that space where it doesn't feel like work. It's more of just, enjoying yourself, because that's what people love to do. We love to enjoy ourselves. So that's one of the biggest tips that I can do. I'm currently waiting for the weather to get warmer so I can go out and ride the bike. Okay. But another thing that I would also suggest is that, we like the things that we're exposed to. So what I would say is, maybe you're exposed to, the fast food and things like that. Try to expose yourself to other types of food. You may realize that you actually like some of this other stuff. Like, even with me personally, like I said, I'm switching back to an omnivore diet, but I'm not gonna lie, my vegan cheese sauce is fire. And I'm gonna keep eating my vegan cheese sauce, okay? And it's made out of like potatoes and carrots, okay? So, it's one of those things where I find the things that I enjoy that are healthier options, and I lean into those. Okay. When you talk about lifestyle and diet, that doesn't mean you deprive yourself of foods that you like. It could be exposing yourself to foods that you may have never liked, and you might actually enjoy them. For a long time, I never ate mushrooms. I thought they were gross. I was like, why would I eat a mushroom? But once I learned how to season them jokers, I swear I will tear up some mushrooms. Okay. So it's just, expose yourself to things that are different. Expose yourself to things that are healthy. You never know. You might love it. And instead of going for the Coca-Cola, you might go for the kombucha, because you might find it delicious. And it's just, we have to get ourselves out of that bubble where we think that this is all I am, this is all I'll ever be, this is all I'll ever like. Okay? Because we as people, we can be so much more than that box we put ourselves in. Okay. Expose yourself to different things. Expose yourself to different. I do not smoke mushrooms. Get off my lawn, people in the chat. Okay. Uh, expose yourself to different things, and just have fun with it. Make it something that's exciting, that you enjoy, not just something you're sitting back and dreading, like, oh, I gotta go do this, oh, I gotta go eat that. No, find things that you enjoy and then lean into them, because you never know, it might be a domino effect into a completely different lifestyle that is a 180, completely different, more healthy. And you never know, you might enjoy those things a lot better, because they're not going to have that negative feeling afterwards. Okay. Because we know how Coca-Cola tastes on the lips. It tastes good, but afterwards that heartbeat be racing, and it doesn't feel comfortable. But kombucha, at least for me, you get the right flavors. Not all the flavors are the same, but some of the flavors are really good. You get the right flavor, it tastes good, and you don't have that feeling, that jitteriness, those feelings afterwards. So just try different things. Don't close yourself off, and make it something that's fun for you. It doesn't have to be something that you dread. It doesn't have to be something that you feel like you're depriving yourself, because oftentimes when people break away from those healthier lifestyles, is because they feel like they've been depriving themselves. But if you have a mentality where you're not depriving, you're introducing new things. Okay, I've had the lifestyle of the cheeseburgers and all this other stuff. I'm going to try some new things. It bring things into the culture about yourself. Bring new things in, as opposed to thinking about all the things you're giving up. But those are my little tips. I know I don't have the background in, training. I've had personal trainers, but I haven't gone to the schooling and things like that. So, I mean, maybe take what I say as a grain of salt, but that's just as a person who has gone through weight journeys. That's the things that's really helped me.
No, you were spot on, and I love your tips. I love how you said, like, you even say you are not the type to go in the gym, but you ride your bike. I'm sure somebody can relate to putting in your headphones and just riding your bike for hours. All y'all had such amazing points, such amazing tips. I can't even express how grateful I am for you guys. And I want to say, for everybody who tune in, for everybody in the chat, please remember, we are not attacking Black women. We're not trying to bash or put down or point and laugh, but 55% of Black women are obese. We have to start having the conversation. I know for me, I stay in the gym. It's a lifestyle for me. I cannot go more than a couple of days and not work out. If I start eating unhealthy, it just feels abnormal. Unfortunately, too many of us in the Black community, it's the other way around. You go to the gym for 2 days and then the gym don't see you again for the next 6 months. And it's like, we need to switch that. We need to think of our future, think of our health. Obesity is the leading cause of death in the country, to chronic disease, diabetes, heart failure, so many chronic diseases are because of obesity. And for us to be walking around with 55% of Black women being obese, but we can't talk about it, like, we need to stop and we need to start talking about it. So I'm so grateful for you ladies, and Christine, if you're still in the chat, for coming up and having the conversation with me. We touched on so many great points. The main point that I want to focus on is our mental health, and how eating right, having a healthier lifestyle, and just moving more will improve your mental health overall. So if you're stressed out, if anything that's happening, try working out, try eating right. For everybody in the chat, thank you so much for staying with us. We went a little bit over time, but Sandra, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I'll make it very, very quick. Okay, so as some of you know, I live in China. And one thing that I want you guys to understand is that the culture over here is that they take care of their bodies. Okay, you'll go for a walk out at night and you'll see groups of elderly women in groups, and they do a nighttime dance. Okay, they also have different fitness, like free fitness equipment at the different parks that the older people they use, even some of the middle-aged people they use. And so it's something where, if you as a culture value health, you're going to put in the time and the effort, and it's a community thing. Okay, like if you go anywhere in China, I swear you will see the elderly groups of women. They're outside and they're doing their evening dances together, and they're exercising together. So I think that we as black people, we need to figure out how we can rework our culture to include more healthier options. Other cultures do behave in that way, and we can adopt more healthier behaviors. That's all I wanted to add.
Mm-hmm. And that's really good if we start normalizing those things in our community. I want to say shout out to everybody. If I missed any super chat, I don't think I did. I'm not seeing that I missed any, but shout out to everybody who have been supporting. Shout out to the Red Lens says good points here by the ladies here. Black women can be healthy and sexy, most definitely. Health, like there's nothing better than being healthy and knowing you're being healthy from the inside out. And oh my gosh, natural style. I know I'm obsessed with Sade's hair. Absolutely stunning, ladies. Wowzers. Thank you so much for supporting. Guys, if you have not already, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And in the description box, each and every one of these women that's on the panel, I have the link to their YouTube channel in the description box. Ladies, I can't thank you enough for coming on. I know some of you guys have to go, so I'll allow you guys to go. Thank you so much for coming on. And we have to have a part 2. Just have to. Like, I'm sorry, but y'all are tied to me now, and y'all are my panel. So I'm sorry.
I'm here to stay.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone who watched and who gave your input, and for letting us have this space where we can have this uncomfortable conversation. So I appreciate each and every one of you all. The ladies on the panel, gorgeous inside and out. It was a pleasure meeting you guys. I'm hitting the sub. I'm subscribing to you guys as well. So thank you.
Same here. Okay.
Thank you, Avery. Enjoy your Friday night.
Okay.
Bye, Friday. Bye. Sandra, do you have to go?
No, I mean, I'm here for however long you need me here, sis.
Well, we're wrapping up. I knew Avery and Sade said that they had to go, but we're wrapping up now anyways. But I just wanted to give pointers to walk away from the conversation. I thank you, Sandra, for having a conversation. I think we don't see these conversations often. If we do see it, it's just, oh, Black women are fat, and then you hear the other side, oh, you're bashing us, and that's it. Like, we don't go in depth, and we spent the 2 hours going in depth. I'm not only talking about the problem, but also talking about the solution. And this was such a great conversation. For everybody who is in the chat, for everybody who liked. Let's see, we have 313 likes. So at least 313 people came up and supported. So thank you guys so much. Sandra, do you have anything you want to close out with?
Just thank you so much for having me on. It's always a great conversation, and I'm definitely looking forward to part 2 of this discussion. By that time, I'll have also been working on my personal, weight loss, healthy journey as well. So, like you said, this isn't coming from a place of just trying to chastise Black women, but more so trying to help us all grow for the better, not grow for worse.
Yes, most definitely. If moderators, can you please drop Sandra's and all the ladies that was on the panel channel in the chat? It's in the description box. And moderators, if you can please drop my second channel. I meant to plug my second channel from like beginning. I'm so bad at my second channel. But Sandra, shout out. Sandra, shout out to you. You email me about doing something on my second channel, and it's like the fact that you email me that is like, okay, I need to pay my second channel attention.
Yeah, I think that idea would be so good. And I'm not gonna lie, I will definitely, if it's during the time where I'm not at work, I will definitely tune in and follow you with the workouts. Okay, I'll try to keep up. I think that's a great idea, and I think it'd be awesome if you did that.
Yes, I definitely will. I am definitely going to. All right, thank you, Sandra, for coming up. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much. For those of you guys who don't know, I'm Chantel. I use my channel to have uncommon conversations about dating in the Black community, and these conversations are definitely uncommon, especially amongst Black women. Not trying to do anything but to come to solutions, so we can start seeing difference in our community, and we can start seeing more two-parent households in a community. If you haven't already, please like the video, and I'll catch you guys in my next live stream. I want to say my next live stream is Monday, unless I'm forgetting something. Monday, I'll be having another panel with Game Changer and Melody, and hopefully other content creators. We're going to have a conversation about femininity in the Black community. So definitely stay tuned for that. Until then, have an awesome weekend, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.